Yeah, so as you're starting up this production company and you're kind of going about it, you know, what's happening in your life? Because obviously now you have like ARN and everything, but you still have Sin 48.
Yep.
So what's what's happening?
Well, ARN didn't start,
Man, for a while later. Um, Sin 48 was just running on its own. We're doing big projects, big commercials. Um, and then I guess I could transition to how ARN started. So for years and years, we're doing production, full production stuff, right? TV commercials, documentaries, stuff like that. And then I was connected. So my wife, uh, she works with a lady who her husband is really good friends with Sheriff Mark Lamb. His name is James. So James and I became really close friends, and he saw my work and was like, dude, my best friend Mark Lamb is meeting a new production company to take over. At the time, he was filming with, he had American Sheriff Network. Um, so he's like, would you be interested in filming with Mark Lamb? I was like, absolutely. So saw some of the content he's filming, and I was like, yeah, man, I could easily do that. So yeah, uh, James set up a meeting with Mark and I, and sat down with him and kind of ran numbers. Needed to know, what his current production costs were, and see how we can come in and help out. So um, finally got all that figured out, and yeah, next thing we know, we're filming with the Sheriff Mark Lamb for his show, American Sheriff Network. And that lasted maybe a few months, and then American Sheriff got bought out by True Blue, I believe it was, who owns To Catch a Predator with Sean, or whatever his name was, Chris Hansen and stuff like that. So fast forward, we're no longer working with Mark Lamb. I'm back to doing our normal production stuff. I get a call from Mark one day, and he's like, "Hey, dude, you want to film a documentary with me?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I go to his house. We're talking about the documentary. Turns out that Turning Point USA is the ones who are producing the documentary. So he gets us in touch with Turning Point USA, meet with Charlie Kirk and his CMO, and sit down for a few hours really discussing what they need, what this documentary looks like. And so, yeah, it was almost just short of a year, but we started filming this documentary about the border crisis. It was called Border Battle, the documentary. And spent a year filming with Mark Lamb, and we were all over the country with different sheriff's offices, police departments, mostly in Texas. Um, but that was a lot of fun, man. Filming that documentary was a lot of fun. Really became really good friends with Sheriff Mark Lamb, and yeah, the rest is kind of history. Yeah, so where'd you go from there as Mark Lamb, and then obviously they've got like Fridays with Frank running, um, and then Mark Lamb no longer the sheriff, and unfortunately lost the race and everything. So where'd y'all go from there? So there was a point, there was a period of time so we filmed a few documentaries for Turning Point USA, and once those finished up, once they wrapped, again, found ourselves back to normal production, right? Kind of boring corporate videos, something like that. But I was still working with Mark Lamb. So one day I was at Mark's house. We were filming some stuff for his campaign, what he was running for Senate at the time. And after we finished filming, he's like, "Dude, what are you doing right now? What's going on in your life?" I was like, I'm back to doing normal production stuff, and it's not fun. But if I had it my way, I'd be out dealing with law enforcement every day. And he's like, "Well, why don't you want to do that?" I was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Dude, start your own YouTube channel. You can go out with my deputies, and then I'll put you in touch with other sheriffs around the country, and you go out and do your own thing." And bro, it was like someone gave me like a golden egg. It's
Mhm.
like a light went off in my head. I was like, why haven't I thought about this before? It, I was already filming with law enforcement. I enjoyed it so much. Why didn't I have the thought to start my own, law enforcement channel? So I left his house just grinning from ear to ear, dude. I was like, okay, I'm doing this. If he's giving me the opportunity, I better take it. So, essentially, I went home, started figuring out what the name of the channel was going to be, everything. Started forming my crew of people who would be interested in filming with law enforcement. Because that right there is actually pretty difficult, if believe it or not, finding people who want to film with law enforcement. Because a lot of people are like, oh, they either don't like law enforcement or they're afraid to film with law enforcement, right? Because of all the stuff they get into. So I assembled a crew, mostly veterans, um, who weren't afraid of going out and filming with law enforcement. And it's kind of how it started, dude. Our first few videos were old American Sheriff Network episodes that never aired. Mark gave us the uh, the green light to put those out first, and then from there we filmed with Frank, and obviously his videos always go crazy, right? Yeah. So it really put us on the map. And when I say map, we're not like, we don't have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I think we're only at close to 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. Um, but within a first month, our the channel's monetized, which blew me away. Um, and yeah, it started really taking off from there.